WordPress is by itself a powerful application, but it has its limits. To get the full functionality out of WordPress, there is a series of plugins that you should install. This list is by no means complete, and in many cases there are alternatives for the plugins I suggest, but these are the plugins I install on every site I work on. They cover everything from search engine optimization to backup to readability. First and foremost, a very important step when you have a website is to run proper backups. For that, I use a plugin called WordPress Database Backup. This plugin is great because it lets you run weekly or monthly or even daily database backups that are then sent directly to your email. A good suggestion for this is to set up a dedicated Gmail account just to receive these database backups. That way, whenever you make a change, or if something were to happen, you know that there's a backup of your entire database in an account on the web. The next one is Akismet. Now, Akismet comes standard with a WordPress installation. Akismet is a spam filter for your comments. In the past, Akismet was free, but recently they've changed it so that if you are an enterprise customer or if you're a big business, you have to pay a monthly fee to use Akismet. Akismet is activated through the WordPress backend, and you have to get an API key from akismet.com, but if you just follow the instructions, you'll see how it works. The next one is All-in-One SEO Pack. This one is very important because it changes the way your content appears for search engines. In a word, it makes it easier for search engines to find and index your content. Now, I have to actually show you how this works so you understand it. If we go to one of our posts and edit it, you'll see that below all the content, we have a new field called All-in-One SEO Pack. It has a title, a description, and keywords. Now, let's first look at the post the way it is now. It has a title, A Pretty Flower. And if I go to my blog and click on it, you'll see that the title of my window is A Pretty Flower. And then we see the content below here. With All-in-One SEO Pack, you can change that title without changing the title of the post. So I can go in and say, a photo of a yellow dahlia. And then I can leave a short description. When I save this page now, you'll see that although the title stays the same, A Pretty Flower, the title of the page has changed to A Photo of a Yellow Dahlia. This is useful when you have posts that don't really have clear names. You can create a proper name for the post just for search engines and also for these tabs. This is just a tip of the iceberg of what is possible with All-in-One SEO Pack, but it gives you an idea of what it's for. The next plugin on my list is one called WP Touch. It's a theme that was created specifically for the iPhone. So when people visit your site using a phone like an iPhone or an Android phone or anything else that has a touch screen on it, the theme changes completely to conform to those smaller screens. It's a great little tool, and you just install it and it works perfectly. You don't even have to manage it. After that, we have one called WP Typography. This is my personal pet peeve. I don't really like it when people put up content on the web and they don't use proper typography. For example, when they use an ampersand, they don't use a proper ampersand. So to show you how this works, I've activated on our site. And as you can see, on this Hansel and Petal, you see, instead of having the regular boring ampersand, you have this very pretty one. This is but one of the many things that WP Typography does, and it has a lot of built-in functions that you can turn on and off if you want to. And it's one of those plugins where I suggest you install it and then just experiment to see what happens. It's a very cool plugin. After that comes one plugin that a lot of people miss when they go from WordPress.com to a self-hosted WordPress site, which is stats. Because WordPress.com runs automatic stats on your site, but for your self-hosted site, you have to ask WordPress.com to run stats for you. So you install this WordPress.com stats plugin, and then you enter your WordPress.com API key, and that way you can track the stats on your self-hosted WordPress site just as if it was on a WordPress.com domain. Contact Form 7 is my favorite contact form, and here I'll give you a tip. Never ever leave your email address in plain text on your website. If you do, you'll end up getting tons and tons of spam email because there are bots out there that literally scour through websites looking for real email addresses. Instead, if you want to leave a way for people to contact you, create a contact form. And for that, Contact Form 7 is the best. If you add a contact form to your site using Contact Form 7, you get a simple contact form that has all the information you need: your name, your email, subject, and a message. And you can create many different contact forms for your site. It's very easy to manage, and you can also style it if you would like to do that. Then we have another one that's one of my favorites. It's called FancyBox. You know how when you go to a website and you see a little image and you click on it and it pops up in this huge fancy box? Well, that's exactly what this does. You install this plugin and it automatically adds that functionality to your photos. So if we go to our site, go to the home page, you'll see there's this little image here. And when I click on it, it pops up in this fancy box. That's all FancyBox does. And this is the kind of feature that people really, really like. The next to last one on the list is ShareDaddy. ShareDaddy is exactly the same function as the share buttons on WordPress.com. It's just designed specifically for self-hosted WordPress sites. You add it, it works the same way. You get those little nice buttons for Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff on the bottom of your posts. And finally, we have one called WP Page Navi. This adds paginated navigation to the bottom of your blog page. This is because if you have, let's say, 20 or 30 posts on your blog, it'll only list the first 10, and then you get a button that says Next or Previous. But sometimes people want to be able to navigate more closely. Page Navi adds a numbered list. So it says, for instance, pages total 17, and then you can select page 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, all the way to the last one. It's a small function, but it's very important if you have a blog with a lot of content. Using the right plugins to extend the capabilities for your WordPress site will greatly enhance both the functionality for the site itself and how well it reaches out to your intended audience. The plugins we have covered here are all tried and tested and work well together to make your site a better place to be for you and for your audience.